We believe we are in a recession. The durable goods orders we just saw, really we're seeing the strength there because of activity being attracted to the US, a flight to safety. That's why our dollar's been going up as well. Nonetheless, we think we are in a recession. We think that inflation during the years ahead is going to surprise significantly on the low side of expectations. Yes, inflation peaked. We believe core inflation peaked at 5.3%. This is the PCE deflator that the Fed supposedly pays the most attention to.
Builders are slashing prices and slowing constructions as buyers pull back, survey shows. Boons for buyers. Here are the top 10 cities where sellers are slashing home prices the most, while real estate is to blame for America's spiking inflation. Up until February or March, we had the absolute opposite happening, where buyers would start a bidding war just to be the one who is going to purchase this or that property. We have seen headlines multiple times where people overpaying 20, 30, or even 50% just to buy a certain property. We were also in this uncertain period where we thought that the world might end. The media was shouting all over the place that we had no idea how long it would take us for us to get back to work. People got scared. They were not ready to sell their homes, fearing that they would be left out. But today, fast forward to 2022, when we are facing challenges such as real conflict in the middle of Europe that's endangering the current world order, the media is no longer focused on COVID cases, and people are getting back to their pre-COVID lifestyles and are back to selling their homes. Some people waited 2 years just to sell their homes. Why sell now when tomorrow prices would rise? The last time we had a similar crisis was in the late 1970s, after the Iranian Revolution, when oil cuts sent shockwaves across the globe, raising oil prices. By 1971, inflation reached a startling 11.3%, and in 1980, it soared to 13.5%, and then the economy fell into a recession. To be honest, if we look at the data, things are much worse than they have been back for multiple reasons. First of all, Russia is not Iran. Russia is much bigger and deeply integrated into the world economy. It doesn't just export a lot of oil, it is the largest gas supplier and the largest wheat exporter, and it's invading a country that is also one of the largest wheat exporters in the world. And we did not have a global pandemic where we printed trillions of dollars to make sure everyone stayed at home. The Fed raised the rates first to around 10%, then to 19% by January 1981. Think for a moment how high mortgage rates would be if interest rates were 19%. I think mortgage applications would drop so much that home builders will start going bankrupt again, as they did in 2008 or 2009. People will start slashing prices more just to be able to sell, since the demand will simply vanish. Only those with cash will be able to buy. By the way, only a third of home buyers pay full cash, and more than 65% of home buyers finance their homes with a mortgage. Another reason why the housing market crashed back in 2008 is because when people with bad credit history defaulted on their mortgages, prices began to decline by 10 or 20%. People who actually could afford their mortgages realized their $500,000 mortgage was now worth only $400,000. They also defaulted on their mortgages, since it didn't make sense to keep paying a mortgage that is much more expensive than the actual price of the house. That drove house prices farther down. We're seeing the exact same trend now. House prices rose by almost 20% last year alone, and this year builders are slashing their prices. The number of active listings are going up and mortgage applications are going down because mortgage rates are rising. And if inflation is not going to come down, the Fed will keep raising the rates to crush the demand. On top of that, we'll most likely face a recession, as we have discussed in previous videos, since the world is on the brink of energy and food catastrophe, which will further lower the demand, which will bring prices down. If real estate prices decline by 10 or 15%, what will homeowners who took mortgages in 2021 will do? Will they keep paying their overpriced mortgages? Maybe yes, maybe no. If the answer is no, can the Fed afford to slash interest rates again? It can't even bring down inflation after multiple rate hikes. I don't think they will risk lowering the rates in the coming future. It's a recession that we all have to swallow. I know that the Fed keeps saying that we're not seeing any signs of recession, but the Fed is very careful with its words. What the Fed says matters the most. Remember, back in 2021, we already had the data that inflation was getting out of hand, but the Fed calmed everyone down by saying that there are no signs of inflation. But when it happened, the Fed didn't instantly raise the rates, but warned the market. The market didn't listen, so it warned it again, and it didn't listen again. Then only it acted and hiked the rates. Then they said that the US is not in a recession. And now J. Powell says that a recession is a possibility. So I wouldn't really trust the Fed, since the job of the Fed is to calm investors down and make sure that the recession is not as painful as it could be. It is really difficult to say for sure what is going to happen, but looking at all of these data now, a housing crash that is in some way similar to the 2008 crisis is a real possibility if things continue the way they are now. But only time will show what is going to happen. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.